Yes, we definitely should fear a government that will do that, because if the government can do that, it can do a lot of other things that will infringe upon those rights in which you say that our rights come from God.
That's right.
When you make... Chris Littleton, when you make the argument that our rights are natural and come from our humanity, does anybody in the government agree with you?
Hard to believe it, looking at what's happening right now. I'll give you a simple example off what you guys were talking about earlier with the 10th Amendment in Ohio. Talking to a Republican state House representative just very recently, and I was talking to him about removing some strings from the federal government in Ohio. And he said, you must understand that's a revenue stream for us. I won't release his name. It's a private conversation. But this is a Republican. So to say that they understand that we have these rights here and we should be decentralized and removed from the federal government, no, I don't think it's happening in any instance. And that's talking with a Republican state House representative.
Jason, how many organizations are there of young people around the country, like the folks that are gathered here, who are ardently and fiercely concerned about the loss of liberty and the need to understand how that liberty is taken from us?
There's thousands. I mean, there are dozens in the state of Ohio, and I know that, you know, I had $19 3 years ago, and I started the Ron Paul meetup. I didn't know anything about politics, but Ron Paul was the only one who was articulating what I thought out there. I was like, this guy makes sense. I get it. And since then, we've seen this stuff spread around the country. And there are groups out there that, you know, are doing their own thing. This is organic. It's just happening in small towns all over the country, in big cities all over the country. People are getting together on the internet. They're meeting each other in coffee shops, and they're saying, what can we do to bring this country back to the vision that the founders had? It's amazing.
Dave, do we have a two-party system in this country, or is it really just one big government party with a Republican wing that likes war and deficits and a Democratic wing that likes taxes and welfare?
Well, there's a two-party system, but it's the establishment versus us. That's the party system.
That's right. That's right.
That's terrific. What do we do? What do we do when it is the establishment against us, to buck the establishment, to make the establishment understand that it is our government and that they are taking our freedoms from us, and there is a sea of youth out there that is drawing a line in the sand saying, thou shalt not cross?
We remind them that there's a lot more of us than there is of them.
That's right. That's right.
Alicia, as a practical matter, if there are a lot more of us than of them, why are they in the government?
Well, because I think we as the voting public have not, we've been asleep. And it's time for us to wake up, because we can take back our government. You know, and what we're going to have to do is, we're going to have to, because of the fact we do have a two-party system, we're going to have to reform the Republican Party. We're going to have to re-energize it, because that's going to be the way. Because right now, we are in dire trouble in our country.
All right, Chris, should this be done through the Republican Party, or should this be done through, or should this be done through a Liberty Party?
I think when we look at the long-term picture of what's going on, we have to acknowledge that there's sort of gradual stages that need to occur. So I think both need to be happening at exactly the same time. Meaning that, yes, we do need to be shifting the entire paradigm and moving everything in the right direction, and that is actually defending liberty. That's the primary purpose of what the government should be doing in the first place. So that's the paradigm shift that needs to happen. Unfortunately, we're dealing with an existing apparatus, so we need to reform that system while at the same time switching the paradigm.
Dave, what brought young people to the realization that the government needs to be watched, that the government cannot be trusted, and that the government is not your friend?
Well,
I mean, was it 9/11? Was it the reaction of the Bush administration? Was it the Patriot Act? Was it locking people up and throwing away the key? Was it obvious and blatant disregard for the Constitution?
It was.
Something exists now, a fire in the belly, that wasn't there 10 or 15 years ago.
First, it was the abandonment of all the principles that we hold dear in this country. Things like habeas corpus, things like fair trials, things like torture, things like undeclared wars. And then, for a lot of the young people, it was seeing Obama get in office and do the exact same things that they thought he was going to fight against.
Yes.
May I add?
Chris Littleton.
May I add something, Judge?
Yes, you may.
I mean, we
lady.
can look at Ron Paul and we can see that he's a constitutionalist, and he is a Republican. I mean, that's what he does. I have been endorsed by the Republican Party, but I have those constitutional principles, and I say that's the only way that we're going to get back our country quicker. Then, yeah, we can eventually go to a third party, but right now, we need to reinvigorate our Republican Party and take it back. We can do that. We can continue the revolution.
Maybe we need to say to the neocons and the social conservatives, go back to the Democratic Party from whence you came.
That's it. That's right.
We are here tonight. We are here tonight through the good graces and generous contributions of the Campaign for Liberty, of Midas Resources, of the Ohio Liberty Council, of the Ohio Freedom Alliance, of the Jacob Group CPAs, of Jeffrey S. Schau Financial Planning, of Americans for Prosperity, and of the Open Currency Standard. Chris, Alicia, Dave, Jason, thank you for joining us on Freedom Watch.